Hey friends, John Hager here from Gospel Rocks Ranch. Just wanted to share a word from the Word with you this morning. The word is from Jeremiah 29 verses 4 through 7. It's a message from the Lord to the Jewish exiles in Babylon. He tells them through Jeremiah to build houses in their captivity, to plant gardens, to marry and have children, and select spouses for their children and have grandchildren, to seek the peace of the city where they're exiled, and to pray for the city where they're exiled. Now, probably not many of you have much experience with being exiles in a foreign nation, but this passage can still be real applicable to us in this day and age. Many of you may feel like you're in a type of exile, whether that is a very difficult job that you have that maybe you don't like very much, a career that you feel trapped in. Maybe your exile is a marriage that is not going the way that you hoped or what you want. Perhaps your exile is a chronic health condition that you feel trapped in and that you feel that there's no relief from. Perhaps you're very disheartened by the direction of our country and the souring attitude towards Christians and everything that we believe in. No matter what your exile is, there are definitely applications from this passage for you. So let's look at it. The first thing I want to bring out is that in this passage, twice God tells the people that He is the one that sent them into this exile. Now, the Lord gives us exile for two main reasons. Number one would be testing and to build character and closeness to God. And then the second reason might be punishment for sin. The exile that the Israelites were in Babylon was more the latter, where He sent them into exile because of their sin. But for us, that exile could be either testing and growth or that punishment. Either way, the applications from this passage are good for us. So I wanted to look at 5 different P's from this passage to help us remember the messages for it. So the first instruction that Jeremiah gives to the exiles from the Lord is to build houses, and we might say that that is a sign of permanence. My family and I, one time, we had a short stint in a city that only lasted about 8 months. We didn't realize it was going to only last 8 months, and so we bought a house at the very beginning of that time there. And we were very sad whenever we found out that we wouldn't be there much longer. It certainly didn't make sense to buy a house if we were going to only be there for 8 months. But God tells the exiles, build houses, be permanent residents, establish that permanence. In whatever exile it is that you're facing, the message here is, do not seek release from your situation. Establish permanence. If you have a marriage that you're really struggling in, don't seek relief from that marriage. If you have a chronic health condition, don't live with the attitude, if only I can get healed from this, then I will be able to serve the Lord. Then my life will continue. Establish the permanence in whatever exile that it is that God's given you. The second P is productivity. God tells the exiles to plant gardens and vineyards. And so sometimes it's easy when we're in difficult situations to spend all of our time, energy, and resources into survival. But God tells the exiles to plant gardens and vineyards and be productive. Perhaps in your situation, you need to add a little compost to that garden. You need to till the soil, work the soil, water, fertilize it, pour energy into productivity. You might be surprised at not only the mindset that it gives you to thrive in the condition that you're in, but also it might even turn your situation from exile to being a real good situation, being a joy for you. So whatever situation that you're in, focus on productivity, on what you can bring to the situation to make it a better one. Seek to encourage your spouse. Seek to work hard at the career or the job that God has given you, and really put effort into it. The third P is procreation, and in the passage to the Israelites, it's speaking of physical children. It says, "Do not diminish, but increase and multiply." The takeaway here is either physical or could also be spiritual. So while you're in whatever difficult situation God has given you, always have a mind towards spiritual procreation, whether that would be sinking time and energy into a discipleship relationship with a younger believer. Maybe it would be strengthening the spiritual walk of those around you, maybe your family, maybe colleagues. Maybe it would be evangelism. Many people feel like evangelism is not for them, but the Bible tells us otherwise. And so we should always have an eye towards spiritual procreation, whether that's evangelism or discipleship. The fourth P is to pursue. In this passage it says to seek the peace of the city, or to work hard for the peace of the city, to pursue it. So many times in our exiles we just wait for things to improve. We hope that the relationships that we find difficult, that the other party will make things right, or that our bosses will make our situation better, or we might feel that we're helpless in the situation that we have. But the Lord tells the captives in Babylon to actively pursue the peace of the city, to do everything that they can to make the city thrive. Maybe you need to have your eyes towards making the company that you work for the best company that it can be, to seek that peace for it, to do everything in your power to improve it. Or maybe for your marriage, you need to pull out all the stops to improve it. And then the fifth P that we look at in this passage is to pray for the peace of the city. So we need to be people of prayer. We need to actively be praying for whatever situation we feel like we're in exile in. And the more time we spend on our knees in prayer, the more God will work in our hearts and work around us. So there it is, the 5 P's: permanence, productivity, procreation, pursuing peace, and praying for peace. And so I hope this was encouraging for you in whatever situation you're facing today. Let's stay on our knees. Let's bloom where we're planted. And that way we can be followers of Christ in whatever exiles we're in. Y'all have a good one.